Hello everyone, my name is Carla Venegas and this is my word problem analysis. So I constructed 4 word problems and they read as follows. So my first one was, David has 9 toy cars. He gives his friend Karen 3 cars and his friend Brenda 2 cars. How many cars does David have left? Draw a picture to show your work. The second problem read, on Monday, Carlos goes to the library after school. On Tuesday, he goes to the park. And on Wednesday, he goes to the library again. If this pattern continues, where will Carlos go on Friday? Use the chart to help you figure out your answer. And here's the chart. Note that I only filled in library and park. Then I have the third problem, which read, students were asked what their favorite place to go to during the weekend was. The table shows students who like to go to the park, the movies, and the library. What place was the most popular? How many students like to go to the park and library? Please show your work. And this is the chart that says their favorite places to go. This is the places, and this is the number of students. Then the last problem reads, Katie bought 15 Pokemon cards. Her friend Marvin bought 7 less cards than Katie. Write an equation to show how many cards Marvin had. So first, I had a student in the first grade, which is what the grade level of these problems were targeted towards, solve the problem. And while both of the students were completing these problems, I was nearby, so I was able to observe them as well. Not just through their work, but through their actions. And here we have the student solved the first problem by putting 9 minus 3 minus 2 equals 4. Then for the answer to the second problem, he put the library. Then for the third question, he put 11 plus 6 equals 17. And then park, which I'm assuming is the answer to the first part of the question. And then for the last one, he wrote 15 minus 7 equals 8. What we can see here is there's a lot of mental math going on. The student was asked to show their work on the PowerPoint, yet they weren't able to, and since the answers are correct, a lot of it definitely had to do with mental math. I was actually surprised to see how the first problem was solved, 9 minus 3 minus 2, without breaking it up. It was just one big problem. And then, yeah, I expected to see drawings, but I guess not. But other than that, it was nice to see that he understood what the questions were asking. Then we have student number 2, which is someone in college, and we see them drawing out the first problem. And what I found interesting is that the way that they drew the cars was very organized. It was very it was grouped. It was grouped. What's the word? It was grouped in a very organized manner. So we have the 3 rows and the 3 columns, and so they drew the 9 cars which David had, and then they crossed out 3, and they crossed out 2, and they circled the number of cars left over, and that's how many cars David had. And this person rewrote the whole chart and determined that Carlos will go to the library on Friday. And what I found most interesting about this person solving the problems was that for number 3, they wrote down that the most popular place to go to was the park, which is correct. But then they put 11 students like going to the park and 6 students like going to the library. When I inquired about their answer, they said that's what the question asked, and that it was not specified that I was asking the student to show me how many students like going to the park and the library all together. And I found it interesting that the student in first grade understood that and the student in college did not. Not that it was this college student's fault, it was my fault for not specifying, but I found it interesting to see the different interpretations there. And finally, right here when it asked about showing an equation, the person didn't read, it appeared that the person didn't read the whole problem at first and immediately assumed that they were going to be asked to draw it out like in the first one, so they drew tallies, but eventually they did write down the equation and determined that Marvin would have 8 cards left. So those were the things that I found interesting in comparing how the way the students would solve it. I was surprised that the first student didn't draw any pictures at all, but at the same time I thought it was cool how he relied on mental math, and I thought it was also interesting how the second student interpreted that one word problem differently. So that's it. Thank you for watching.